but I can't get out of bed. There's too much in my head. I could be more faithful, but I feel let that happen. So I run around instead. I wanna be good to myself. Love hard to breathe more, drink less. I wanna be seen at my best. Sleep more, be nice a lot less. All I need is 21 days and I'm fine. January 1, I'ma still need more time. Every single year, yeah, it never fails, I try. But maybe I don't ever wanna put down this life. I could be your best friend, but I can't pick up my phone. Let it ring cause no one's home. I'm always judging and degrading. I should stop all that, I'm sure, but I'm just too insecure. I wanna be good to myself. Love hard to breathe more, drink less. I wanna be seen at my best. Sleep more, be nice a lot less. All I need is 21 days and I'm fine. January 1, I'ma still need more time. Every single year, yeah, it never fails, I try. But maybe I don't ever wanna put down this life. All I need is 21 days and I'm fine. January 1, I'ma still need more time. Every single year, yeah, it never fails, I try. But maybe I don't ever wanna put down this life.
Memorized in my heart.
walking down the boulevard. She got the posture of a superstar. She looks so fly in those Gucci slides. Yeah, I wonder what she hides under her disguise. Yeah. And all the girls around the world, they wanna be her. And all the dudes are trying to score like it's fever. She lives a double life, puts on a show. What's under the subtle smile, we'll never know. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. Let me paint a picture. I see they don't understand. Feeling like Picasso. She brushing against my hands. Seen you from around the way. You didn't give me the time of day. You be making moves that yeah, who really care what Simon say? All the bad things, girl, I had to look past that. Call yourself a dime, I'm just trying to get my cash back. You be looking fine, so no wonder they can't match that. Louis V scarf, or I'm chilling with a dad hat. Whoa, slow it down like that.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome one and all to YouTube and Twitch and all the rest of it. I'm joined today by a special guest, friend of the show, Sophia Christina Botha. How are you?
I will destroy you, pussy boy! I will destroy you, soy boy! I am now the daughter of Infrared!
The tiny monkey army has arrived, everybody.
I've been waiting to do that for ages.
I suspected something would happen.
Yes, and Kevin, the best thing you can do is shave off your beard and live as the woman that you really are.
Oh, that's a Blair White cut. That's a.
No, that's Lauren Witzke. That's what Lauren Witzke said to Blair.
Said to Blair White, yeah.
Yeah, I take it you've covered that one, haven't you? The Conservative TMZ panel.
Oh yes, that was quite something. Yes.
Yeah, me and Osma covered that on Tuesday, and it was like afterwards, it was like, well, there's 2 hours of my life I'm not going to get back.
True. Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
For those who don't know who you are, I mean, obviously, apart from being the daughter of the great and powerful Has of Infrared.
Yes, I am a tanky. And I'm proud to be a tanky. No, I'm fucking not a tanky. Tankies don't like trans people.
Not usually, no. But tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Sophia Christina Botha. I am a Jewish South African gobshite who happens to be trans.
Fair enough. Succinct. Yes. Sophia's channel is linked below. Go and subscribe immediately. And I don't mean maybe subscribe. I mean subscribe, okay? Because I got Rory Cats and he will hiss at you, okay?
Yeah.
It might not hurt you physically, but emotionally it will fucking wreck you. So,
yeah.
Just saying.
Yes, please do subscribe because, yeah, I'm very, very small at the moment. I want to be very, very big.
Time. Well, you'll be taking on PewDiePie in no time, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, you know, we all know that Blair White, the true scum cunt, reached 1 million subscribers and then didn't. You know, she lost subscribers, but she still has 900,000 odd subscribers, and you know that tells you that there's a market for trans people to throw other trans people under the fucking bus. Well, you know, there needs to be something to counter that, and there's me. And there's a few other people, of course.
But this is the thing. I'd rather have a smaller audience with people who don't think I'm subhuman than a large audience of people who do.
Yeah, and even after that Conservative TMZ panel, she still won't get it, that she's not welcome in the GOP.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. Yeah, she's happy to be the pick me, thinking that'll save her. But, you know.
Anyways, to give you some background to what we're going to be discussing, trans rights in Britain are down the toilet. Essentially. This is, well, it's TERF Island.
Yeah, Britain's a shithole. Yeah.
You know, considering that, you know, just a few months ago, you know, trans people and the wider LGBT community were looking at if Donald Trump had been re-elected, the horror, they would have had to wear pink triangles in public. They would have been ordered to do so. That was on the fucking cards, I can tell you. I saw Donald Trump's record, and it had an eerie feeling from what I know of how the Nazis treated Jews before they decided on the final solution. But now I have America trans people in America laughing at us Brits. Considering that Biden's had wanker's cramp from all the executive orders he's been signing, rolling back all the anti-LGBTQ shit Donald Trump has put in place.
Yeah, America. This is the thing. We always used to look at America and laugh and go, "At least we're not that." But now, like, you've got places like Georgia electing gay people, not gay people, sorry, black people and Jewish guys and stuff, and you think, oh shit, we're not even as good as Georgia.
It's not just with LGBTQ rights. I should bring this up actually. I don't know if you've covered this, but just as the GOP have tried to suppress voter rolls and gerrymander congressional districts in the United States, you now have the Tories, wanting this voter ID bullshit for if you want to go to vote, and of course they're also wanting to cut the number of MPs from 650 to 600.
Yeah.
The Conservatives are just as bad as the GOP. Have no illusions about it.
Well, because conservatism / fascism in general cares not for principle. So if you're going to vape, can you vape slightly away from the microphone? Because it's
all right. Sorry.
Very annoying. Sorry. Yes. The conservatism and fascism in general are not interested in principle. There's no thing that they won't do to fuck over people at all. It's about power. They care only about power. And they will happily, if they can do it democratically, all the better, because then they don't have to explain it. But they'll happily trample all over democracy to get there. They don't care.
Yeah. Boris Johnson only cares about Boris Johnson.
Word.
And let me just point out what's even worse about the state of trans rights in the UK is that we have no opposition to the Tories throwing trans people under the bus. Keir Starmer, every fucking opportunity he has had.
Please, Keith
Starmer, every opportunity he has ever fucking had to stand up for trans rights, he has just sat on the fucking fence. In fact, I was fucking shocked last week when he actually took a stand, about outlawing conversion therapy. I genuinely was shocked. I thought, fuck me, he's actually developed a policy. And here's the other thing that people need to be reminded about Keith Starmer. He was the director of public prosecutions.
He was.
And he did, basically, he wasn't the original DPP director who decided not to prosecute police who shot Charles Jimenez, who was the Brazilian electrician mistaken for a terrorist.
Yes.
In other words, police shooting innocent people. But when the inquest returned an open verdict, the family were able to then ask the DPP to reconsider. And Starmer was then by then the director of public prosecutions, and he refused.
That doesn't surprise me. The moral fibre of a slab of meat. Yes. Yeah. Even better in the chat, someone asks, Quiche Starmer. And I'm here for Quiche Starmer, definitely.
Don't say that to my other half.
That would be more useful, I think. An actual quiche would be more useful as an opponent to the government. Anyway, so let us get on with the actual news content element of the show. So, Sophia has a number of articles that we'll be going through in order to try and explain how TERF Island is beginning, in a number of ways. I'm sure we'll touch on other things as we go, but slipping towards some sort of hellish dystopia, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially that. It's just to do with the UK census, which, looked like it was going to be a progressive step because it was going to ask. It was a voluntary question for people if they were trans. Basically, they could say if they identified as a if they identified as a different gender to the one they were identified as at birth.
Yeah. So the voluntary question was: is the gender you identify with the same as your sex registered at birth? Was the specific wording it says there? Yeah. The Office of National Statistics, which will run the census on the 21st of March, so the details were clearly needed. Is there anything you wanted me to read from that, or was that?
Well, that's basically it.
Yeah.
However, just this one question was way too much for fucking TERFs. Who had a crowdfund? They set up a crowdfunder to legally challenge this, and they successfully did.
God. So, yes, we then move on to this one. Oop, centre that. Okay, so anti-trans pressure group spends thousands to remove the word passport from census question on sex, which is weird. Anyway, the High Court has ordered the Office of National Statistics, ONS, to amend the 2020 census guidance on the question, quote, what is your sex, unquote, after a challenge by the anti-trans pressure group Fair Play for Women. Fair Play for Women, a, quote, women's rights group set up to campaign against the Gender Recognition Act reform, began crowdfunding last month to raise money for a legal challenge against the Office of National Statistics, which runs the census. The group raised more than £100,000, which is, what, $160,000 or something?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, they've got 100, you could think of far more worthwhile causes to raise money for, but,
burning $100,000 would be a better cause, I think.
Yeah, they should have got the KLF in, shouldn't they? Yes. Do you remember that documentary?
I do, yeah. They burnt £1 million or something.
I then felt really miserable about it. Well, yeah, of course you're going to fucking feel miserable if you burn £1 million, you stupid morons. Anyways, I remember the days when we used to raise money to launch campaigns against organisations and companies and regimes which persecuted people. Now it seems the people having a whip round to raise money to ensure people are persecuted even more.
Basically, yes, that's basically the underlying issue.
There is something seriously fucked up with this country, really.
Yes, no, absolutely.
And also one thing I need to point out to people in the US, and well, you know this, the left in this country are split on trans rights.
I think to an extent in the US as well. TERFs are a thing there as well, aren't they?
Yeah, but TERFs have been getting into bed with the far right in America.
Well, they have. To be fair, they have here as well. Well,
yeah. I mean, Posey. I've seen pictures of Posey Parker. Standing, having a nice time with Norwegian Nazis.
Well, exactly. And you had Julie Bindel palling around with Milo Yiannopoulos, who's literally opening a gay conversion therapy centre. Well done, Julie, you stupid fuck.
Yeah, and why is he opening it in Florida? He can open it here, because the Tories haven't made the conversion for therapy illegal here.
Well, because his grift is dead here. It works in America because there are lots and lots of religious people.
Yeah, I mean, me and Oscar had great fun at reading about him supposedly going straight. He's about as gay as they come. And, the thing is now his husband is now his housemate. And we'll go, yeah, right. Yeah?
No, well, exactly. He says he's sodomy free, and that is about as honest as the usual level, which is not at all honest. Anyway. Yes, so this year, the once-in-a-decade UK Census will, for the first time, collect information on LGBT+ demographics by asking brand new voluntary questions about sexual orientation and gender identity. A mandatory question on sex remains, as it has done for more than 200 years, requiring an answer of male or female. Guidance accompanying the sex question was to read, quote, if you are considering how to answer, use the sex recorded on one of your legal documents, such as a birth certificate, gender recognition certificate, or passport, unquote. But Fair Play for Women claimed that by allowing census takers to answer with their sex as it was displayed on their passport or other documents, the ONS had, quote, decided it can redefine sex to include self-declared gender identity, unquote. A High Court judge sided with the group on Tuesday, March the 8th, ordering the ONS to remove such as and passport from its guidance.
Right. The whole self-ID bullshit. Okay. So, self-ID would help people like me, okay? Because at the moment, you have to go through a government quango to get this thing called the gender recognition certificate. And it's really hard to get one of those if you pre-op. For those who don't know, that means if you haven't had bottom surgery, you know. Now, I can't have bottom surgery due to various health problems. Ideally would want to, okay, if I could, okay? Now, if you, as I said, if you pre-op, it's really hard to get hold of one of these gender recognition certificates. You can get one, but, you know, for instance, a friend of mine had to appeal 3 times, and it cost them thousands in legal fees, okay?
Yeah.
The whole bullshit about self-ID is this, like, if self-ID is introduced, it means that they could masquerade as women and to gain entry to female-only spaces. Well, men, you know, male predators can already do that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need self-ID for that. And you know, in countries where they have introduced forms of self-ID, Canada, Ireland, Denmark, Israel. Yes, Israel. Has there been an increase in sexual assault? Drum roll. No.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, just to remind people of what Posey Parker recently said, and she's one of the most vile of TERFs. You know, so she doesn't want trans women to use women's toilets because she feels threatened that they are men. Yet she wants cisgendered men to use to go into female bathrooms with guns to protect cis women from trans women. I'll tell you what, Posey, that is actually a charter for rape, because it's more likely that cisgendered men with guns are going to rape cis women.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Which it just goes to show they're not interested in actually keeping women safe. They just want to shit on trans people.
Well, as I've said before on the stream, you know, where were the TERFs when Amy Coney Barrett was appointed to the Supreme Court? This is somebody who wants to take away women's reproduction rights away. She would gladly, you know, have the United States turn into fucking Gilead. You know, where were the TERFs at the weekend when Patsy Stevenson was thrown to the ground by police and had the shit kicked out of her? You know, and amongst other activists at the vigil for Sarah Everard. And also, well, you know, good on Patsy Stevenson, because I saw an interview with her, and she basically said she was there to protest against violence against cis and trans women. That's probably why. Basically, TERFs will turn on other feminists who actually are inclusive towards trans people. And I'm talking about one particular TERF, Julie Birchill. I see that she's had to apologise to Ash Sarkar, you know.
And pay substantial damages as well. She's very much out of pocket,
Yeah, and, you know, Julie Birchill is not just a transphobic piece of shit. She's also a racist piece of shit. Yeah, and you know, today's trying to sort of spin that no, she's not a racist because she's, you know, dumped her publisher who was publishing other white supremacist books or some bullshit.
Well, yeah, exactly. She was going to be releasing a book with a Nazi, and she's acting as if she just learnt that. But that information's been available for a long time. So she's full of shit, anyway.
Well, it's damage limitation.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Indeed. So, Fair Play for Women argued that the sex listed on a person's passport did not constitute legal sex, because to change the gender marker, a gender recognition certificate is not required. If a person does not have a gender recognition certificate or birth certificate listing their correct gender, they must provide, quote, a letter from a doctor or medical consultant confirming their change of gender is likely to be permanent, unquote, to amend their passport gender marker.
Well, yes, you do to do that. And I don't see why I have to. I mean, look, cisgendered people don't have to validate their gender identity, so why should I?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's nonsense. And again, this has nothing to do with protecting women or anything. It's the census. A question literally cannot hurt anyone. They're doing it just to fuck with trans people, because that's all they're interested in. The group claimed that allowing people to answer with the sex listed on their passport in the census could corrupt data on women in the UK, adding, quote, this is sex self-ID through the back door, unquote, which is ironic because they're arseholes. On Tuesday, the case against ONS was heard at the Royal Courts of Justice, which I've shown the people in America before, the dickheads with powdered wigs on, like something from the 17th century. That's who's getting to decide questions of modern gender and things. In court, Jason Couple QC, representing Fair Play for Women, argued that the guidance, quote, conflates and confuses the concepts of sex and gender identity, unquote, and that, quote, small misclassifications of males as females can have large distorting effects on female stats, unquote. I fail to see how that's remotely true.
This is touching upon Eric Eskella's fucking conspiracy theory about female erasure.
Yeah, disappearing lesbians, yeah.
Yeah, which is also based on an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory called the Great Replacement, which says that Jews are wanting mass immigration to the West to breed out white people.
Indeed, yes.
It's the same bullshit.
Yeah. Disappearing lesbians, of course, was one of David Copperfield's more controversial magic tricks, but we won't go into it. Defending, James Eddy QC said that the ONS, quote, uses, quote, umbrella terms, and that there is, quote, no hermetically sealed concept, unquote, of what sex is or a sex act defining which stated... Hang on. Nor a sex act. Defining which state-issued documents accurately reflect a person's sex. Okay. I'm not sure what sex act has to do with anything, but... 2021 marks the first time that the census has been conducted predominantly online, and although the official census day is the 21st of March, the census will be able to be filled out online from the 22nd of February. According to Eddie, around 3 million households have already completed the census, but Justice Jonathan Swift eventually ruled that the guidance for the sex question in the census was wrong, and that it does not match the question being asked.
Did you say Jonathan Swift?
But Justice Jonathan Swift, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Gulliver's Travels.
He's fucking old as well. He's about fucking 300 years old now, yeah. Swift agreed to Fair Play for Women's request for interim relief, meaning ONS will have to amend the guidance, removing the words such as and passport with immediate effect. But that's the thing, as it's interim, they could force them to have to change it back again at some point. Oh, God. Anyway. This will be followed by a judicial review next week to decide whether or not the guidance for the question was lawful. An ONS spokesperson, I should say, confirmed to Pink News it would amend the guidance, saying, quote, we are continuing to ask a binary choice, female or male sex question on the census.
Right, can I stop you there? Right.
Yeah.
Gender is not binary, okay? It's not.
No,
it never has been.
Yeah.
Gender, for those who need to grasp this, gender is a social construct. Okay, so essentially, a penis does not make a man. Okay. Yeah. A vagina does not make a woman. Right.
Although, to be fair, just for a second, it does say sex question there, which it's still not binary, I know, but strictly speaking, it does say sex question.
Well, TERFs are biological absolutists,
yeah.
Right? So, you know, if you're born with a penis, you're a bloke and you're a potential rapist. If you're a woman, if you're born with a vagina, you're a woman. And you're going to be a victim, right? That's basically their spin, right? Well, what about hermaphrodites?
Indeed,
intersex people. Yeah. There's always even when you talk about sex as in biological sex. It's not binary.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, I gladly concede that. But I just wanted to correct that it does say sex question. To the point I got. He does say gender identity later on in the quote, but we hadn't got that far. Anyway, so I will continue with the quote. This approach is unchanged since 1801, which apparently is a good thing or something. Anyway. There is a new voluntary question on gender identity for people aged 16 years or over in the questionnaire. As with previous censuses, or censusi, as I'm going to call them, more people will not need help to answer the sex question. For those that do, we are providing guidance, as we do for all census questions. In line with the court's order to grant interim relief, we are amending the guidance to advise they use sex as recorded on the birth certificate or gender recognition certificate. Nancy Kelly, Chief Executive of Stonewall, which is a gay charity, or an LGBT charity here in the UK, said the charity had previously welcomed ONS guidance as clear and inclusive. Quote, it's not appropriate for us to comment on the ongoing court case, but we do feel it is important that the case doesn't overshadow the fact that the 2021 census is a landmark moment for LGBT plus communities, she added. The new voluntary questions on sexual orientation and trans status will finally allow the population of LGBT plus people in England and Wales to accurately measure, and it's vital that LGBT plus communities feel confident, supported and able to complete the census, including the voluntary questions. We count, so we should be counted.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Paris Lees has already tweeted this. For those who don't know, Paris Lees is a well-known trans writer, an activist, and she has said she's putting down female, on census, and so will I, because that's what I am. The other thing I forgot to mention is about $100,000 which was raised for this legal challenge. Yeah. So a lot of that money came from the United States, we suspect.
Well, of course it did. I would be surprised if virtually any of the money came from anywhere else. It's all dark money pouring in. We know with the case with Kira Bell, for instance, we know that a lot of that was funded with dark money from American. Basically, any organisation in America with the word family in it, they're just homophobes. That's just what they are. That's precisely who was.
And then just obviously, I was on here to talk about the Kira Bell case. Just one thing on that. Yeah. Gender Intelligence, which is an organisation which helps trans people. They are saying that increasingly amounts of trans youth are basically in danger of self-harming and killing themselves, all thanks to that turfy poisonous minx. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put it any other way. We went through that interview, and they just, but you could tell that all the crap they were saying was, that they'd been fed with turfs, and they would. You see, here's the problem I have. Right, no doctor would have forced them into doing anything. Okay, it was their choice. Okay, yes, they were young. I grant you. And, they were only put on puberty blockers. They were not given, as far as I know, they weren't given HRT. Okay, so and the whole point of putting someone on puberty blockers is to find out if they are trans, right? It's you put them on puberty blockers to delay puberty so that they have time to figure out things, with counselling and therapy and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was more reticent back at the time to criticise because I thought, well, I'll wait and see what she does, and all of that. Turfy prick.
Yeah,
whether she's been duped into that position or not, I don't really care. She's an adult now. I'm not. It's too late.
I heard somebody say something about Blair White yesterday on the stream. Yeah. I don't know if this is true. Okay, but they said that they knew Blair White a few years ago and they were very liberal, and something happened. Something happened, and
a lobotomy.
No, something about some sort of like TERF started befriending them and turned them against the trans community or something.
It wouldn't
and to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me because I actually know sadly that this person's no longer with us. They've died. a trans woman called Hannah. When they found out that they couldn't have surgery because of their disability, it really, really impacted on them and drove them into the arms of TERFs. Yeah,
Right.
this sort of stuff happened. And to be honest, I do sort of blame some people in the trans community for letting that happen, because let's just say that, how do I put this? The trans community can be a very bitchy place to be sometimes. I mean, I've got some wonderful trans friends who have really helped me over the last year through the pandemic. But unfortunately, I've had to put up with a lot of crap within the trans community, which might surprise people. Ableism, anti-Semitism, general nastiness,
Yeah.
and, a complete lack of intersectionality. Now, thankfully, that's now a small minority of people, but it didn't used to be, I can tell you that.
Okay. That's pretty fucky. You think a marginalised group would understand that a bit better? And I think probably they do, in terms of compared to the rest of society. They probably have a higher intelligence on such matters, but it's a shame to see that it's still an issue, let's say. So, yes, moving on to yet another piece of dog shit news. And again, this is, if anyone was coming here for, like, hopium, that's not happening tonight. This is, we're doom a pill all the way.
Yes, Liz Trusty loves to dog whistle sorry, I almost said, well, she might dog whistle to anti-Semites as far as I know, but she certainly dog whistles to TERFs.
Yes.
She was in front of a parliamentary select committee about a year ago, and basically said that female-only spaces were of a concern to her, and that she didn't think that trans people should be able to get treatment until they were 18 years old. Hey, Liz, I knew I was trans when I was 4 years old. When I eventually plucked up the courage to tell someone I was trans when I was 11, looking for help, I got laughed at. I got sent to fucking, psychologist who kept telling me I was disturbed, and that I should get my hair cut, and smarten myself up and bullshit and conform to being a guy. Yeah, that was really helpful. Not, preventing people from transitioning results in people killing themselves. Okay.
Yeah. Indeed. Yes. Absolutely powerful point.
Anyways, the point here is, so back in the summer of 2018, Theresa May said that she wanted to ban conversion therapy. Here we are, almost 3 years later, and still the government has not done so. The excuse given is, Brexit and COVID. Well, they've had time to do other stuff.
Yeah.
Why haven't they had time to ban conversion therapy? It wouldn't be that fucking difficult. I mean, for fuck's sake, for the state of Virginia and New Mexico have banned conversion therapy. They're hardly the bastions of radical progressive thought.
No, but we're behind them, so again, yay. Okay. 8 major political parties unite to demand a conversion therapy ban now without delay.
Can I just add with one thing? There's another report I read. Bernard Jenkins. Now, Bernard Jenkins is on the hard right of the Tory party.
That fucking eyebrow cunt. Yes.
Yeah. He's even said that the government need to pull the, but basically get with it and outlaw conversion therapy.
Yeah, he is a gobshite. Anyway, yeah. He's got thick eyebrows. That's what I'm
saying. Even the hard right of the fucking Tory party is saying, this needs to be outlawed.
True, but Boris Johnson's just a git. Like, he's just a pathetic individual. Like, he won't do anything unless he absolutely has to. And whilst Bernard Jenkins probably would support an end to it, he doesn't really care, I don't think.
No.
Like, he's not that bothered by it. It's just if it came before him, he probably would vote to ban it.
But here's the thing. I don't even think Keir Starmer's that bothered about it. Yes, last week he announced that Labour, wants to ban, conversion therapy. And it was like, where the fuck have you been? I'm glad that it's...
He's been too busy sticking his dick in every British flag he can find.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just going to tell people here, right? You think the Tories are bad, right? One of the reasons, we're so... This country is so fucked up is we don't have a fucking functioning opposition at the moment. right?
Yeah.
And as they say, a democracy is only as healthy as the fucking opposition. Well,
Sure.
you know, Starmer has. Well, I mean, for instance, right, the police bill, right? Starmer was not going to oppose that, have Labour oppose that until the vigil, the police mishandling of that vigil at the weekend.
Yeah.
And then, basically, he stuck his finger out the window and saw what way the wind was blowing. That is not what I expect from a Labour leader. I expect a Labour leader to be principled, a bit like Jeremy Corbyn.
True, but Jeremy Corbyn was an evil socialisms. So we can't have that. Whereas, what they want is a Labour leader who has no semblance of backbone to him and will just basically roll over.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to put that in there.
No, that's absolutely fine. Yes, representatives from 8 major political parties in the UK, but Sophia, vape. Sorry. No, it's fine. It's just you're a chain vapor.
I won't vape for the rest of the.
No, you can vape. Just don't do it right next to the microphone. It's very annoying.
I could push the microphone even further away. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I could turn the volume down on the microphone. Maybe that'll help.
Yes. Okay. I was just going to say we don't really have 8 major political parties, but whatever. It doesn't matter. 8 parties. In a collective letter, representatives from 8 political parties urge the Equalities... I cannot believe this bitch is Equalities Minister. Good Lord. Equalities Minister, Liz Truss, who is
can I just
officially certified trash. I mean, real garbage.
She's also the Trade Minister.
As well. Well, she's trading away people's rights, yeah.
Okay. Well, just want to point something out here, right? Trade. What does Britain? What is Britain good at trading? Weapons.
Yeah.
And they love to sell them to autocratic despots in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia. Joe Biden has put this fucking government to shame by suspending fucking US arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Boris, he has no fucking plans to do so whatsoever. Yeah. And this woman is the Trade and Equalities Minister. How are LGBTQ people treated in Saudi Arabia? They're stoned to fucking death.
Yep, absolutely. And Boris Johnson cheered when Biden suspended arms sales because that just meant we could sell more. Garbage.
Yeah. You couldn't hear my vote then, could you?
No, it's fine. 8 political parties urge the Equalities Minister and Trade twat Liz Truss to listen to the LGBT plus communities and ban the harmful pseudoscientific practice. The group is led by LGBT plus conservatives and includes LGBT plus representatives from the Labour Party, Plaid Cymru, the Green Party, the Alliance Party of Northern Ireland, the Liberal Democrats, the SNP and the SDLP. The letter stated that without a legislative ban, the UK government cannot end conversion therapy. It continued, the longer we wait, the weaker the words and intentions sound. You pledged to be the government that banned conversion therapy, now is time to prove it. I can't believe it's lasted this long. Very strange. Any ban on conversion therapy would need to cover all interventions, including in healthcare, religious and cultural or traditional institutions, the letter added. Additionally, a legislative ban would need to cover public and private spheres and children and adults alike. Poorly written. You don't use "and" that many times in a sentence, god damn it.
Pink news are one for typos and
well, fair enough. They're probably not like a highly paid staff of people or whatever, are they? They're, keen amateurs. The letter urged Truss to, quote, meet with and engage directly with us as LGBT plus representatives and experts on conversion therapy. It said that there had been little engagement between the government and survivors of conversion therapy since Prime Minister Boris Johnson promised a ban. Well, if he promises something, it's not going to happen. He's the most mendacious fuck ever. Quote, it is naive to attempt to form policy without meaningful engagement with those who will continue to suffer abuse if conversion therapy is not banned, unquote, the letter argued. Truss recently promised to bring forward a ban on conversion therapy shortly after a string of resignations from the government's LGBT plus advisory panel. She said on Friday, the 12th of March, that the government would bring forward plans to ban conversion therapy, which is an abhorrent practice. Okay, but I mean, you have been in government for 10 years. You could have banned it at any point. Okay. The move came after Jane Ozarn, James Morton and Ellen Murray resigned from the government's advisory panel over concerns there is a, quote, hostile environment for LGBT plus people among this administration, unquote.
In fact, one of them, I forgot which one, said that the Tories are going back in their attitudes to the era of Section 28.
Yes, that was Jane Ozarn. I'd covered that, yeah. Section 28 was the ban on supposedly promoting homosexuality in schools.
Yes.
Which is basically, up until even when I was at school, I think it was still in effect in the late 90s, early 2000s. They couldn't even mention the fact that homosexual people existed in schools.
And it took Labour, I think, 2 goes or maybe 3 goes to get it repealed.
Yeah.
And the one reason LGBTQ History Month is February is because that's when the month they finally managed to repeal it. I think it was in 2000 or 2002. Yeah. Don't quote me, but yeah, that's what this is what it seems to be we're going back to. And I can tell you that Section 28 was extremely damaging to a lot of young LGBTQ people.
Indeed, absolutely.
Because the promotion of the promotion of homosexuality included education.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they couldn't mention it in schools at all.
Yeah.
Very, very reminiscent of the kind of bullshit that Putin's pulling in Russia at the moment.
Well, also one of the states, I think it's Idaho, the Republicans are proposing a bill similar to Section 28, but specifically for trans.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Ozarn cited a speech by Kemi Badenoch, Under-Secretary of State for Equalities, in which she gave a vague update on the government's plan to tackle conversion therapy. She refused to use...
And she has links with anti-LGBTQ groups.
Yeah, well, a lot of them do. They've all... I mean, the Prime Minister literally described gay people as tank-top bum boys.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, it was a few years ago, but I don't think he's gone under some sort of road to Damascus moment where he's seen the light on anything. He's still a gobshite and a homophobic piece of trash.
And I just want to point out that it wasn't mentioned when Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, but, you know, at the time, we were all hearing about Jeremy Corbyn and anti-Semitism, right? And no one could actually cite anything which Jeremy Corbyn said which was actually anti-Semitic. Yet Boris Johnson has written articles going on about the fucking Illuminati and the global elites, and has actually used quotes from the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, which is probably one of the most infamous anti-Semitic diatribes.
True. Well, but Jeremy Corbyn was anti-Semitic because he once ate a non-kosher falafel. So
he once ate a bacon sandwich in a 10-mile radius of a synagogue. I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. That's. I mean, what more do you need? Check and mate. She refused to use the word ban, instead saying the government would end conversion therapy, which, I mean, okay. And that practice had, quote, no place in a civilised society. Badenoch said there were robust laws already in place to crack down on the most severe cases, so they're just trying to do nothing again. Prompting fears that the government had no plans to bring forward a new legislative ban. She said the government did not, quote, intend to stop those who wish to seek spiritual counselling as they explore their sexual orientation, end quote.
Okay. One other reason why conversion therapy might not have been made illegal yet. I'll give you an example. Now, I know Tim Farron is not a Conservative MP, right? He's a Lib Dem, right? But he's also an evangelical Christian,
which is pretty rare in British politics.
Yeah, he's a liberal. Well, he's not liberal with what I'm about to explain. Now he has made. He's basically compared being anti-gay to being anti-slavery. I do not know how he figured that one out. I think, you know...
well, come on, you've been to Pride. There are several men who walk about in chains. So it's basically the same as slavery, I think.
Yeah, very funny. But the thing is, he received a £75,000 donation from an evangelical group who support conversion therapy. Now, if Tim Farron, a Lib Dem, and I mean, who gives a shit about the Lib Dems these days?
True.
Gets a 75 grand donation from an evangelical group, how much more are certain Conservative MPs getting from evangelical groups?
Well, not
That's
just that,
what I'd have to ask.
but we know that a lot of Russian money has been pouring into the Conservative Party coffers over time. And again, a lot of very, very nasty homophobia and transphobia going on there.
Yeah.
Having mentioned Pride, it's still, just because of its sarcastic length of time, they banned the Moscow Pride Parade for a century. They banned it for a century. They can't have one till 2116.
There is an issue with homophobia and transphobia in Eastern Europe. I mean, Poland has its LGBTQ free zones, and so does Hungary.
Thanks, Catholic fundamentalism.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. I mean, that's one good thing about Ireland. It's thrown off the shackles. It seems to have thrown off the shackles of the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They've got a gay chap as the Taoiseach for a start, which I can't see happening at any point in Poland.
And also, they're progressing faster now with LGBTQ rights than we are.
Yes, and indeed, yeah, exactly, yeah, and they're going to repeal the abortion ban and stuff. Like Ireland's going in a good direction, which is away from Britain. Which again, there are historical comparisons to be drawn there. Anyway, so that was shit. Also shit, and talking about Ireland, although he wouldn't see it as Ireland, but it is. Get the fuck out. DUP.
It's the Ulster bigoted party.
No!
Never, 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 no surrender.
Indeed. That was...
Actually, do you know there was someone from Northern Ireland who actually said to me, if you notice that speech by Paisley, he actually said never 4 times. I said 3 times was enough.
The thing was, right, we've just done a rather niche political reference, because even most modern British people won't get that. Anyway... the DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party, this man Sammy Wilson, he's a member of the British Parliament. He votes on laws that both I and Sophia have to live by. That party was started by a guy called Ian Paisley. Can I get some lulls in chat for the fact that Ian Paisley is still dead? He was a guy, just to give you an indication as the kind of person who founded this political party. He became famous for a number of anti-Catholic, bigoted reasons, but specifically in one instance, a thing that he actually has in common with the Catholic Church, it seems. He started a campaign called Save Ulster from Sodomy. Back in the 1960s, that was. Yeah, Save Ulster from Sodomy. So can I get some lulls and some ruffle mouths in chat, please, for the death of him?
Can I just point out, right? Nothing much has changed since then when it comes to Northern Ireland.
True.
That's the problem. I mean, you really are fucked if you are gay and a Protestant in Northern Ireland, right? Because to explain to people in Northern to people outside the UK and possibly even just outside the Northern Ireland, because plenty of people in the UK won't understand this. Basically, voting in Northern Ireland goes along sectarian lines. So basically, if you're a Protestant, you vote for either the UUP or the DUP.
Yes, that's the Ulster Unionist Party or the Democratic Unionist Party, who are almost identical, but they're different.
Yeah. And if you're a Catholic, you tend to vote for Sinn Féin or the Social Democratic Labour Party, the SDLP. Now, funny thing, Sinn Féin actually do support LGBTQ equality. In fact, a friend of mine who runs a campaign called Wipe Out Transphobia has a photo of Martin McGuinness holding a Wipe Out Transphobia banner before he died, of course. And, so as I said, if you're a Protestant and you're LGBTQ, well, I mean, I guess you could vote for the Alliance Party, who sort of are a non-sectarian party who have had one elected MP in their time. But, not, I mean, it's generally either Sinn Féin or the DUP these days in Northern Ireland.
Yes.
So, this is why I feel sorry for the LGBTQ community. And the other thing about particularly the DUP and the kind of Protestantism they preach, you might even think it was fundamentalist Catholicism, because not only do they not support LGBT equality, they don't support abortion rights, they support the death penalty. I'm surprised they don't believe that the earth is flat.
Yeah. I'm sure some of them think it's 6,000 years old at the very least. Yeah.
And dinosaur fossils were put on this earth to test us.
Yeah, definitely. Or they're just fake. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Bill Hicks reference, by the way.
No, I know. And there's some more points. Yeah, they got themselves a replacement Ian Paisley, a junior. That came from the balls of the dead man. Again, can I get some lols in chat for the fact Ian Paisley Senior is dead? It came from his balls.
And of course, Ian Paisley doesn't have an ego at all by calling his son after himself.
No, true. But also, just to point out, Ian Paisley Jr. The apple rarely falls too far from the tree. Bigoted, homophobic piece of shit. Also, of course, took money from the Sri Lankan government in the form of free holidays. Didn't tell anyone that, and started asking questions in Parliament about Sri Lanka and its genocide of the Tamil Muslim population in the north of that country. Which basically means he was given money for asking questions, which is illegal. He was found to have done it. Didn't receive any punishment because rich white people don't get punishment for things like corruption. That would be silly.
Anyway, to tell you about this sack of shit, Sammy Williamson, or whatever his name is.
Sammy Wilson.
Sammy Wilson, that's it.
Yeah.
He has in the past said he refuses to wear the red ribbon for World AIDS Day.
Yeah.
Because he said people get AIDS from their lifestyle.
For a second, I thought you were going to say you get AIDS from the ribbon, which I think that would be a fundamental misunderstanding of what they mean by World AIDS Day, Sammy. But anyway, go on, Sarah.
Well, no, he's basically preaching that AIDS is the gay cancer still.
Well, yeah. Look, I'm surprised he's reached 1970s and 80s levels of anti-gayness. These people are the kind of motherfuckers who think that you should be driving demons from them, like the fucking something from the Middle Ages. By comparison to a lot of people in his side of things, he's actually very, very progressive. He just thinks gay people are bad but shouldn't be burnt at the stake, which is progress.
Ian Paisley wanted to ban barn dancing because he thought it was too sexualised.
Which is hilarious, because I can't think of anything less sexy than barn dances. What's that? Jesus Christ, yeah. Well, again, like I say, it's save Ulster from sodomy. Brilliant, well done. How did that work out for you? Still lots of sodomy going on. Not so much Ian Paisley Senior though. Lol. Anyway, his death will never cease to be funny. Anyway, so DUP, so that's Democratic Unionist Party for anyone interested. MP insists people and by the way, worth bringing into question just on a political level. Up until the 2019 general election, there was a minority government here in the UK, and that government was propped up by 10 DUP MPs. So when you listen to the nonsense here, bear in mind the British government had to go cap in hand to these motherfuckers for the last 3 years.
And gave them £1 billion of aid to Northern Ireland.
Indeed.
So every DUP MP was worth 100 million to the Tories.
Of our money, yes.
Yeah.
DUP MP insists people should be free to practice torturous, traumatic conversion therapy. Democratic Unionist DUP MP Sammy Wilson is facing criticism from Northern Ireland's LGBT plus community after he appeared to express opposition to a ban on conversion therapy. In an email to a constituent shared on social media, Wilson suggested that practitioners of the harmful and pseudoscientific practice should be allowed to continue operating, despite the fact that it has been repeatedly denounced by almost every mainstream psychiatric body. Quote, "I feel that those who wish to avail themselves of conversion therapy and those who wish to practice it should be allowed to do so," unquote, Wilson wrote. Wilson said he does not know of any conversion therapy practitioners who force their views on anyone. I can point to any single one of them.
Yeah.
And that would be a person who forces their views on people.
Yeah, basically there's something wrong with you for being gay or being trans. No, there's not. All right? That's like me saying to Sammy, there's something wrong with you for being Irish. No, there's not.
No.
Okay?
Absolutely.
It's pure and utter homophobic and transphobic bigotry.
Of course it is, yeah. Quote, "I certainly would not support such a practice, but where those who feel they need some help and that help is available, then I think they should be free to request it," unquote, Wilson wrote. Help. I have an issue with the word help being used here, Mr. Wilson. That appears to be the exact opposite of what's taking place. What's taking place is torture.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking torture. LGBTQ people don't need help to not be LGBTQ. They need help to protect be protected from the likes of you, Sammy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Owen Tennyson, an Alliance Party councillor who campaigns on LGBT plus issues, lambasted Wilson for implying that it is possible for a person to consent to abuse. Quote, "So-called conversion therapy is predicated on a false and wholly unscientific basis that those of us who do not adhere to culturally prescribed norms are ill, and that our sexual orientation or gender identity can and should be changed," Tennyson told Pink News. "This is not only degrading and grossly offensive, but can have a highly damaging impact on the mental health and well-being of those subjected to the practice. It is for that reason that it has been denounced and discredited by institutions such as the UN Committee Against Torture, the European Parliament, the British Psychological Society, and virtually every medical and counselling body. In his letter to constituents, Sammy Wilson appears to suggest it is possible to consent to abuse. This is nonsense. More than that, it fails to recognise that conversion therapy and its proponents often prey upon feelings of fear and shame among those struggling with internalised homophobia, and that the practice is often inflicted upon young, vulnerable LGBT plus people." Which I think is a good point. It is, again, any instance of someone going to a conversion practitioner is not only torture, but it's being forced upon them.
And the conversion therapy is not scientific, has no scientific basis, right?
Yeah,
it's based on the recollection that there's some old crusty book which says that LGBTQ people are supposedly bad, which actually it doesn't. And this book was written by some non-existent mystical sky daddy. I'm sorry, but if I said that, I can't meet people with red hair because the fairies at the bottom of the garden told me to, I would be laughed out of the room,
Yeah.
Why is it that we still think that religion, why people still think that, religion is an excuse for bigotry? It's not.
Indeed so. Pink News has also seen a copy of an email sent by DUP MP Paul Girvan to a constituent in which he said the party does not support conversion therapy, but went on to argue that a ban could constrain legitimate activities by religious organisations. So we don't like it, but if churches want to torture people, let them do it, is the basic gist.
Well, if there's one part of the United Kingdom which is more similar in its attitudes towards LGBTQ people as some states in the United States, it's Northern Ireland. They believe in religious freedom, but what they mean by religious freedom is freedom to be a Christian bigot.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They'd happily drive the hardcore Protestants would happily drive every Catholic out of the country.
Yeah.
Anyway, quote, "Our approach to any legislation that may come forward will be in adherence to this principle. In equal measure, we believe that there must be a balance between safeguarding against dangerous practices and any attempt, deliberate or otherwise, to restrict freedom of religious belief, speech and association. We retain a level of concern that the debate on this issue has at times been conflated with efforts to restrict these freedoms and constrain legitimate activities by religious organisations or others which cannot reasonably be deemed to be conversion therapy. Pink News has contacted the DUP, Wilson and Girvan for comment. Northern Ireland has committed to outlawing the practice. The controversy comes just months after ministers in Northern Ireland committed to advancing legislation to outlaw conversion therapy. The Department for Communities in Northern Ireland told Pink News that legislation to ban the practice is devolved matter for the territory, meaning it will advance its own laws separate to the UK government.
It's funny you bring that up. Do you know how when Cameron expanded the franchise of marriage for same-sex couples, right? Though let us remember that the Church of England still has a ban on same-sex marriages. Basically, that wasn't enacted in Northern Ireland.
Yes.
And it was only when direct rule, because the Assembly, the Northern Irish Assembly broke down and there was direct rule was reinstated from Westminster, there was a Northern Irish Act which a Labour MP made an amendment to, which actually brought Northern Ireland in line with the rest of the United Kingdom, in that which allowed for same-sex marriage. Now, my point all along was the DUP kept saying they're British. Well, if you're British, obey the fucking laws of this fucking country then, and that includes equal rights for LGBTQ people to get married.
Yeah, they're happy to diverge from London when it suits them.
Yeah.
Indeed. Where are we? UK government. The department is in the process of developing a sexual orientation strategy, which will be, quote, the appropriate mechanism to look at the various elements involved, including penalties and law, health and well-being, and equality and inclusion, a spokesperson said. Meanwhile, the UK government is facing strident backlash from MPs and the wider LGBT community after Equalities Minister Kemi Badenoch gave a vague speech. We went through this in the last one.
Yeah.
We went through the people resigning.
Yeah.
It's now almost 3 years since the government pledged to outlaw conversion therapy in its 2018 LGBT Action Plan. However, no legislation has been advanced. The Equalities Office has not yet given a clear indication on when a law is likely to be brought forward to outlaw the practice in England, Scotland, and Wales. So, yes, members of the British Parliament.
Can I just make a prediction right now? I'll tell you what's going to happen. With
Alien
this.
invasion.
No, basically the government's going to say, we're going to have another review. Right? Let me tell you something which happened last year. So when this trust shelved self-ID, but a few days later, the government said, we're going to have a review on how to help trans people. Right? And this is the best way. This is the government's favourite way of kicking things into the long grass. They did this with fucking Grenfell. Yeah, let's have an inquiry. Let's have a review. This is what they're going to do with the whole the concerns about policing. Let's have a review. Yeah, it's just putting stuff off. This is what the Tories are doing. This is their favourite tactic when they get criticised these days.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very effective way of waiting till it's gone, and then, as always, wait for a bad news day. So. Terrorist attack or something, and then they can just release a thing saying, the committee gave its report and we're not doing anything.
Yeah,
because that doesn't make the news, because the news is terrorist attack or whatever the big event happens to be.
Yeah.
Remember, of course, I think probably most famously in Britain, the what was her name again? I forget. Anyway, when 9/11 happened, and the email from a government spin doctor person saying now would be a great time to bury bad news. Which is something we'd already known.
Was it Tessa Dale?
No, it was like either a civil servant or like a political appointee, but he wasn't.
I know the spin doctor was. It was Martin Sixsmith.
No, it was a woman. Good. Hang on. Oop. Good day to very bad news. It's not really relevant to anything we're saying. Joe Moore. Spin Doctor Joe Moore and the Transport Department Martin Sixsmith. Oh, okay, so he was involved as well, yes. But anyway, Joe Moore.
I just remember that because he used to work for the BBC.
He did. He did indeed. God, we're going back now. It was a different fucking century when he worked for the BBC. Anyway, different millennium indeed.
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm that old.
You're not much older than me, are you?
I'm 46. I'll be 47 in a
Really?
few weeks.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think you were a day over, well, probably 38, 40 at most.
Ah, thank you.
There you go. Okay, well, yes.
Yeah,
so
fuck the DEP. Sorry.
Yes, and I hear they like sodomy. So, if you're gonna fuck them,
there's a reason I'm a Celtic supporter, you know.
Because you like sodomy. What? What's the connection there? What?
You know what the connection is.
No, I know. I'm just doing a sodomy joke. Anyway.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Actually, before we get on to this, can I go for a pee? Sorry.
You can indeed. Well, you've got an old bladder. Yeah, so...
So sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, absolutely no problem. I'll shill while you're away. Go on. Okay, so whilst Sophia, I'll take you on to the... I'll go back to that, because I like that image. Anyway, yes. You can go and subscribe to Sophia. She's linked below in the description of the YouTube video. You can subscribe to me on YouTube as well if you want to. You can follow me on Twitch. Click the little follow button. Cost you fuck all, son. /lady/non-binary person. Anyway, you can also subscribe to me either by giving me your money, or if you've got a Amazon Prime, you can attach it to your Twitch account for free, and you get one free subscription, and you can give me $5 of Jeff Bezos' money, and together we can impoverish that motherfucker and bring about world revolution or something, or just have a good time on Twitch, whatever. Yes, Streamlabs. If you want to get super chat in, streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875. That's streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875. It's linked below, and you can help keep this broadcast going. There's also the social medias, YouTube, Twitch, Patreon as well. If you want to give a recurring monthly donation, that's available, linked below. I think I hear a Sophia lurking. Do I? I do not. She's lurking, but I don't know what she's fucking doing.
Right, hold on. Before we carry on, I'm just going to test something.
Go on then.
Did anyone hear that?
Hear what?
My vape. I'm just testing, but you can't hear it. Okay,
no.
Cool. All right. Sorry, I didn't want to be an annoying fucker. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, that's a great one. Haruka with a fantastic pun. Why can asexuals be tanks? Because we're immune to all advances. Boom. Boom. Love it. There's not enough asexual humour that isn't like ace-phobic. So that's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, if you want to see a tanky being an absolute fucking tough, go and see Callum Malpit or wherever the fuck.
Caleb Maupin, yeah. My friend.
Interviewed John T. Walsh from I think it's the Revolutionary.
No, the Communist Party of Great Britain, Marxist-Leninist.
Right, that's sorry. Yeah, sorry. No, it was Claire Fox who was a member of the Revolutionary Communist Party, wasn't it? No, yeah. But basically, she says, "I've got nothing against trans people," and then a few minutes later, she says, "They reinforce feminist stereotypes with the way they dress."
Yeah.
Well, you said you didn't have anything against them. Now you're saying you make your fucking mind up. She is a TERF, so you know.
Yeah. No, she's trash. Yeah. But tankies are in general, but they for some reason decide to add like weird fucking gender critical nonsense to it as well.
No. People who claim they're gender critical are the least critical of gender.
Oh yeah. No, well, yeah, exactly. I don't think cock, man, pussy, woman counts as critical.
Yeah.
Well, unless you mean critical in the sense that critical as in your brain is on its deathbed, then it's critical in the medical sense. Anyway, so. Moving on to yet another shit thing. God, it's depressing being British.
Actually, before we just get to that, you did bring something up. I've forgotten to bring this up. You brought up, or some people in chat brought up when you played that list of names, Jess Phillips read out.
Yes.
In Parliament, you said there was no trans people involved. I can't tell you who told me, but someone told me that she was given that list by a TERF, but Jess didn't realise it was a TERF list.
Okay. Well, I find that interesting because she has her turfy issues. Like, I've been side-eyeing Jess Phillips for a while now on that basis. The fact that she gets lists from TERFs, I think in of itself is telling, even if she didn't necessarily know.
She has publicly said, and she said this, when she was, that brief time she decided she was going to stand as for Labour leader, and
yeah, that was weird.
Realised that that essentially she was just a gobshite.
Not viable. No.
Yeah. She gave an interview to Q&A, shall I say, to Mumsnet, and for those who don't know, Mumsnet is like the online nexus for TERFs.
Yeah. It's TERF Mecca. Yeah.
Yeah, and someone asked her, where she stood on it, and she said trans women are women. Now, so I'm prepared to give her some leeway.
Oh no, I don't think she's terrible, and I think she did good work on the Gender Recognition Act as well, or the reforms thereof, I should say. So I don't think she's like terrible or anything. But like I say, I'm wary. Like my spidey senses occasionally tingle with her. That's all I'll say.
My problem with Jess is actually not to do with her. My problem with Jess is all the Corbyn backstabbing bullshit.
Yeah, that's not great either. No.
Yeah. Anyways,
but anyway, yes. So that's yes. What was I going to say? Bugger. I can't remember what I was going to say now. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so more shittery from TERF Island. Right. Religious group warns against LGBT plus conversion therapy ban. What a surprise! Religion sticking its oar where it's not fucking wanted or needed.
And funny that the BBC gives them a platform.
Yes. Yeah. Although I suppose one could argue, and again, this is not me.
We're just reporting on the news.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you reported about a trans youth, not getting the treatment that they wanted, and had a quote from the fucking LGBT Alliance in it. That is like writing a fucking article about the Jewish community and sticking a quote in from the National Front.
True. Absolutely.
There is something hideously transphobic going on with the BBC. I have heard rumours, about possibly what it is, that a bunch of TERFs have infiltrated various departments. I don't know if that's true or if that's conspiratorial, but something's up.
Wouldn't surprise me, not at all. Just a 255 in the chat. Yeah, obviously, regardless of if Jess Phillips, even if she was a TERF, obviously what Carl Benjamin said and did was fucking disgusting. That's never come into question.
And she's on Question Time tonight, so I wonder if she's going to call out Cole again. She did last Sunday.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I think I played that on stream. Didn't you send it to me or something?
Yes,
yeah,
she did.
She called him out, although not by name, but she said a guy ran for office who said he wanted to rape me. So Carl's name is Mud, which is good. Anyway, yeah. But what isn't good is the BBC doing this bollocks. A widespread ban on gay conversion therapy could end up criminalising church leaders, the UK's largest evangelical body has warned. The Evangelical Alliance, which represents 3,500 churches, which sounds a lot but is nothing, says such a ban could restrict religious freedom. Equalities Minister, and again this is ridiculous, Liz Truss, has said she will introduce a bill to ban the practice shortly. I met Tory MPs on Tuesday to discuss the subject. However, some LGBT plus groups have accused the government of moving too slowly. That would be all of the LGBT groups, I think. Conversion therapy refers to treatment aimed at changing a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. How very BBC. What a description. Just Yeah, it's just changing the person's sexual. No, it's torture. What you're describing there is emotional and psychological torture.
Yeah, well, we have to be impartial on these issues, you know.
Well,
Right. So okay. So it's a bit. So if there was a debate about the Holocaust, so they're going to give David Irving a fucking platform.
Well, we got to look at it this way: torturers pay the license fee too, so they've got to represent the torturer community. That's literally the way that's explained. Although they wouldn't say torture, they'd say like conversion practicer. Like, it's just ridiculous. Anyway. In a letter to the Prime Minister, the Evangelical Alliance said, quote, an expansive definition, unquote, of conversion therapy could restrict religious freedoms and place church leaders at risk of prosecution. Well, good. If they're doing weird shit, they should be prosecuted. Peter Linus, UK Director of the Alliance, acknowledged the Church's role in, quote, perpetuating stigma, discrimination and harm towards people because of their sexuality. Really? He said that? Of the Alliance? That's bold. I mean, you should be ashamed of yourself then, shouldn't you? If you're perpetuating that nonsense, why are you okay with that?
Yeah.
He said the Evangelical Alliance opposed, quote, abusive practices and said extreme forms of conversion therapy, such as electric shock treatment, were clearly wrong. Well, he set such a high bar for himself.
Can I just say, up until the 1980s, they practiced electroshock therapy on trans people.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course they did, yeah.
Very famous, relatively famous trans woman, Faye Presta, they did that to her.
Really? Fucking hell.
Yeah. And I know others. Yeah?
That's fucked up, man. Jacundi Bollocks with 100 bits, thank you very much, says, why do terms man and woman refer to gender rather than sex? This is a question I've been asked by transphobes and didn't know what to say. Thoughts?
I don't know.
Alright. Why do the terms man and woman refer to gender rather than sex?
Laziness of language, I don't know. No, I always say trans woman so that people aren't confused, right? But I'm no less a woman than a cis woman. I just have a different experience.
Yeah, this is the thing. Man and woman are not medical terms. That would be like male and female, right?
Yeah, those are the medical terms.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas man and woman refer to gender because they're far more malleable. Actually, there's a fantastic video called Define Woman by Critfax, who I interviewed a couple of the contributors to on this channel before, which is brilliant. It goes through the... was it Plato or Aristotle? One of the ancient Greeks, anyway. And it was a great analogy of the chicken. But they said, how do you define a man? And it was like a two-legged creature that didn't have wings or couldn't fly or something, or didn't have feathers. And they plucked a chicken and threw it in there and went, see, now you see a man, you know. Because there's no real descriptor that fully encompasses only women and all women. Because there's all sorts of weird offshoots that are still women. Like, there's no way you can define it. They'll say stuff like uterus havers. Well, not all women have uteruses. They'll say, ovulators. Not all women ovulate. And when I say women, not all, assigned female at birth. Not all of them ovulate. Not all of them can have kids. Yeah. There's loads of different things involved in that. So man and woman are not the technical medical terms.
Well, you used to have like Nazis saying, "Oh, we don't like gays and lesbians because they don't reproduce," and it goes, well, what about cis women who can't reproduce who are heterosexual?
Exactly, yeah. Or postmenopausal women.
But of course, the Nazi argument of that is that they're not part of the master race.
I suppose, yeah. Indeed. Yeah, so that's the basic kind of ham-fisted way I would describe it. Anyway. Where were we? So, yeah, these gobshites. But he said such practices should already be illegal under existing laws, and that a further ban risks preventing gay Christians who want to remain celibate from seeking support. Want to remain celibate.
Fucking hell.
This will threaten the everyday practices of churches, church leaders, and Christians across the UK, he wrote in a letter. If they're doing torture, good. It should threaten their everyday practices then.
Yeah. Sorry. Here's the thing, right? You know, I mean, particularly when I was watching that debate the other night between those fucking conservative cunts. You know, Lauren Witzke, you know, babbling on about how she's a conservative Christian woman, white woman. And she was babbling on about, you know, Christianity and whatever else, and it was obvious to me she's never read a fucking page of the Bible, and she didn't like it when actually the sort of more liberal type person quoted a Bible verse at her. You know, this is the thing. Fundamentalist Christians don't read the fucking Bible. I can tell you that.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, no, absolutely certain of it. Yeah.
You know, and if they do, they don't get past the book of Leviticus and don't get onto all that hippie shit which Jesus preached.
Exactly, use a comma. Isn't it
Yeah,
brown comma.
If you read the Bible and you know both the Old and New Testament, you know, it's pretty obvious that Christianity, the nearest political ideology to it is socialism.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, certainly Old Testament's a bit weird. Old Testament, God's a fucker. But New Testament... Definitely.
Yeah, well, as I said, if you take into account what Jesus said, you know, socialism.
Indeed.
Now, you know.
Indeed. Yes, thank you. Giganti Bollocks with 100 bits says, just so you understand, I have struggled with gender dysphoria since I was about 6, but I don't know what to call myself. Trans woman, man, non-binary, etc. Well, I hope you come to terms with whatever you are and discover what you are and find stability within that. But maybe you won't, and maybe that's fine as well.
Yeah. Just be yourself. That's, you know, just be yourself. That's the most important thing.
And if you can't be that, be Rory Cats. Man's a legend. Maybe you're a cat. Well, yeah, maybe you are. Maybe you're a cat boy. I don't know. That's a thing people can be now.
I don't know how much religious groups, as I said, I mean, they do send, you know, the likes of Tim Farron lots of money. They might send some Tory MPs lots of money.
Indeed.
And, you know, I mean, you know, we always hear that, you know, I mean, especially the far right in America seems to think that the LGBTQ community is bottomless fucking pockets. No. The people who back the far right have far more money. The Koch brothers, you know, etc., etc.
Indubitably so, yes.
And I'm still wondering which Koch brother Blair White had to suck to get a leg up. Is it the one who was alive or the one who's dead?
I don't know, but can we get some lols in chat for the dead Koch brother? Let's keep that ball rolling. Anyway, continuing with the quote from this cunt. It would place ministry leaders at risk of arrest for encouraging young people to maintain chastity until marriage. It would criminalise a member of a church who prays with another member when they ask for prayer to resist temptation, as they are attracted to someone of the same sex, but do not wish to act on it.
Look, it's not resisting temptation, okay? Well, I don't get this, right? When did, you know, loving another person become a bad thing? Right? Well, when did that become a bad thing? Yeah, I want more love and you know, more fucking in the world than killing and maiming. True.
I think that's the lesson. I think that's a lesson we all need to learn.
Yeah. Listen to me. I am your new guru. You know, I am now the. You know.
Indeed.
You must all now follow me.
You are the Pied Piper of fucking. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Sophia Koresh.
No. Advisor's resignation on Monday. LGBT. Oh, we already read this from the other thing.
Oh, sorry. Some of these.
That's yeah, exactly. Well, they're covering the same-ish topics in the same locality, so.
But I just wanted to give you a flavour of how under attack we are.
Yeah, no, I think anyone having watched this is has definitely gotten a little taster of how shit things are. So we come to our final article. The anti-protest bill could see pride marches shut down at the behest of bigots. So this was the police and crime bill that was before Parliament on Friday, which, by the way, this was, I think, written possibly before the news came out today that they're tabling the committee stage of that bill until much later in the year. So they might be kicking this bill into the long grass itself.
Yes, but did you see that clip I posted on my group of someone literally walking down the street and her husband getting arrested?
No. What was this? What?
Right. There was they had a camera, and basically they were walking down the street. There was a lot of police there, and literally they were arrested for essentially walking down the street.
Okay, well, I'd be interested to see what law they will have broken with that.
I think I posted it on your group as well.
Did I? Okay, well, I'll have to have a look at that off air, so to speak. Yeah.
And that's without the proposed new police powers.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why they look like they might be kicking it into the long grass, because obviously it's very unpopular, and also the police have been basically saying it's unserviceable. Like you'd have to arrest everyone at a rally, which could be thousands of people.
They wanted to ban protests outside Parliament, right?
Well, they already have. It's that's been around for a while. You have to apply for a license, don't you?
No, but they now want to make it even more restrictive, and yeah. I kind of feel that MPs need to hear the voices of the public while they're debating stuff. If you know what I mean. I do believe in that V for Vendetta quote. People shouldn't be scared of governments. Governments should be scared of the people.
Yeah. Did you see what was his name?
Z.
The MP whose name I've totally forgotten. The one who got taken in by Brass Eye a million years ago, and he's from Southend, I think. Anyway,
David Amos.
David Amos. Well, good memory. David Amos, who's been in Parliament forever, during the debate on that bill on Friday, was going on about, I'm sick of being disturbed by protests outside of the window, because apparently his window of his office faces out to Parliament Square. And I thought to myself, you cheeky cunt, how fucking dare you? Tough shit. Buy some fucking earplugs. That's the people's fucking parliament, you cunt. How fucking... how dare you?
But you see, technically it's not. It's Lizzie's parliament.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean, though. People have a right to redress of grievance.
Yeah, it should be, right? Yeah. But in law, it's actually Lizzie's parliament.
It is. So, it is, absolutely. Well, he is the Palace of Westminster, yeah. And
we're Lizzie's subjects,
yeah, but I'm also an Irish citizen, so fuck you. I've still got an EU passport. I've got an EU passport.
Good for you. But no, I heard one Tory toff say, "Oh well, MPs, have found it hard to get into Parliament when there's protests." Oh, dearie me! They can't be driven up to the doors of Parliament in their chauffeur-driven limos.
Well, they need jetpacks.
They have to walk past the peasants. Oh, God, that's terrible.
No, jetpacks. That's what we need. Jetpack. Oh, imagine David Amos trying to operate a jetpack. I don't think he's gotten past the rotary phone yet, has he?
And can I just point out, he's a careerist fucking politician, because he before he was the MP for Southend, he was the MP for Basildon.
He was.
But when 97 came along and the Labour, landslide, he changed seats.
He did, indeed, yeah. And he's a gobshite. Oh yeah. No, you're being inconvenienced. The proles are having their say. Oh, you could also fuck off.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
And I can do a David Amos impression.
That's quite good.
That's how he talks.
That is how he talks. Jesus. Yeah. Nicely done. Anyway, he got done by Brass Eye, which was a satirical show back in the 90s. Yeah, go and check that with a fake drug thing.
Yeah, cake.
Cake, exactly. My favourite is still the dead Bernard Manning. Can I get some lols in chat that Bernard Manning's dead? Bernard Manning going on about a guy coughing up his pelvis bone. They got him to say that.
Did you see Four Lions?
I did. It was very good.
Yeah, it's very
Chris Morris is a fucking ledge. Yeah. Anyway, so the protest bill could see pride marches shut down at the behest of bigots. After a year of being isolated from friends, family and our community and allies, we know that Pride this year will be more important than ever. A moment of celebration and relief after an incredibly difficult and traumatic time for everyone. For many, Pride season will also mark an escape from being forced back into the closet during the pandemic. But also, whilst we have come far, at its heart, Pride has always been and remains a protest. That's why we at LGBT plus Labour are incredibly concerned about the government's police crime sentencing and courts bill. So this is actually a Labour Party group, okay? Just for context. You'll know by now that the bill would limit the right to protest, a cornerstone of our democracy and fundamental tenet of our human rights to assemble. But there's been little mention of how it would include Pride marches. These are parades that would have been pivotal to our movement, crucial in achieving human rights and critical in advancing equality for LGBT plus people. Just as they were at the time of their inception 50 years ago, Pride marches remain a protest, with LGBT plus equality far from achieved. We are still having
Can I jump in there? Right. So, a lot of people have said that Pride has become very corporate now. And sure, I go to Pride. I see all the, some of the companies have had very dodgy records when it comes to LGBTQ inclusion, right? But there are others who have been LGBT inclusive, right? But I try to, it's not like I forget it, but the thing is, particularly Pride in London, it's free, okay? So I get, because of corporate sponsorship, I get to go around the streets of London waving a placard in support of trans rights, okay?
Right.
Now, okay, I'm not the biggest fan of capitalism, because believe me, capitalists will fuck over each other for a percentage. All they care about is fucking profit. All right, what's good for fucking profit? That's all they fucking care about. Okay. But as I say, if the consequences, I get to wave a placard, in support of trans rights, and it's the one day of the year I actually get cheered on for being trans as well. And I know this might sound fucking awful for some people, right? But
1 second.
Sorry.
No, go on.
It might sound sad, but that really does help raise your self-esteem when you get thousands of people cheering on for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a road of cats.
I love cats. And I do. My fiance has 4 of them.
Oh, baby cats. Any dear road cats. There was the Roricans. Yes. Yes, someone sent me the
I saw.
Yeah, the thing. So we might as well have a look. Bit of fun.
Yeah, go on.
The classic street signs of a nearby drug abuse. But what about this? Remnants of something far worse. A new legal drug from Czechoslovakia called cake. Oh, and luckily the story involves these people. Free the United Kingdom from drugs, and British opposition to metabolically bisturbile drugs. Ted Moore reports.
Cake first appeared in Prague last year. News reports showed victims insane with pain. Disturbing images like this and a knowledge of the drug routes in Europe led to the formation of Free the United Kingdom from Drugs, incorporating British opposition to metabolically bisturbile drugs. Their single aim, to enlist the great and good.
I'm Bernard Ingham, and this is a piece of cake.
To warn Britain about cake.
Fucking hell.
Before it was too late.
One young kiddie on cake cried all the water out of his body. Just imagine how his mother felt. It's a fucking disgrace.
It is. It's a fucking disgrace.
This thing about the slow crushing of his skull.
No one understood how to get the message over better than this man.
And if you're sick on this stuff, you can puke your fucking self to death. One girl threw up her own pelvis bone before she snipped the lid. What a fucking disgrace.
Sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Cake is a made-up drug. It's not made from plants. It's made from chemicals. By...
They got them to say it's a made-up drug, and they still didn't get it.
sick bastards. I'm just reading here the names of these fucking loony...
Yeah, well, it's satire. It's the show is satire, but the celebrities are real. They think it's real. And they say these things. It's fucking mental.
Stuff. So, if someone offers you cake, they might call it Looney Toad Quack, Ponce on the Heath, or Hattie Jake's Pretentious Cheese Wog. Chuck it back in the face and tell them to fuck off, 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 fuck off.
Jesus, there was a minute of that. Anyway, okay. You get the idea. And David Amos was a part of that. He got to the point where he asked a question in Parliament about cake. It's not a real drug. He wasted everyone's time. What an idiot. But he still...
But I remember when there was there was some plot in Coronation Street where there was some character called Deirdre. Her boyfriend was an immigrant and he got deported, and literally some MP in Parliament asked a question about this.
Yeah, that got brought up at Prime Minister's questions. Remember Tony Blair having to pretend he watched Coronation Street? Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sake, aren't there more important questions to be asking?
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you should all check out Brass Eye. It's very funny. Anyway, seeing Dr. Fox say was it paedophiles have more genes in common with crabs than with humans? Amazing. Fucking amazing. Anyway, not relevant to any of this, right? We are still having to fight for the right. The right not to be subjected to conversion therapy. We still have to advocate and push for trans people to be able to live authentically and for better protection from hate crimes. Across the world, our LGBT brothers and sisters face persecution and moida. This is why every year we have to come out loud and proud and demonstrate for our right to be equal and to be heard. This government intends to give the police power to shut down protests that are, quote, noisy, marches that disrupt...
And Pride is very noisy.
It is, both visually and literally. The activities of organisers and have a, quote, relevant impact on a person in the vicinity. Pride marches are meant to be noisy. They are meant to cause disruption. They are meant to have an impact. Yeah, basically, you're going to be allowed to protest as long as you stand still in silence, is basically the gist, which is somewhat pointless, really.
I should also point out that Priti Patel is not pro-LGBTQ as well. So, you know.
Well, I don't think she's pro any human.
Well, she's pro-death penalty, so
exactly, yeah.
That's the one pro thing I know she's for, but that's not pro-human, is it?
She's also pro being a smug cunt, so there's that as well.
She's pro being fucking evil. She is. She is the embodiment of Tory evilness.
Exactly, yeah. She's the kind of person that I think probably her tackling of the COVID would have been to try and deport the virus, I think. That would have been her approach to it.
Yeah.
Drafted so wide...
Ant Middleton, before he got sacked before Channel 4, he was going to wrestle COVID, wasn't he?
He was. Drafted so widely without care or worry about who or what will be caught in its wake, it's not inconceivable that this bill will allow the police to shut down pride marches at the behest of bigots, or even just one or two complaints, especially in the areas where pride marches aren't always welcomed with open arms, the very places where pride is needed more than anywhere else.
There's also a more serious point to this. So the second to last pride I went to, there was a protest by TERFs.
Yes.
They laid down in front of the parade. And
I remember it, yeah.
And fucking Rosa Moron, right? She said that I remember this. I remember afterwards, we because I was there, and the complaint from the trans community was that Pink News treated this too matter of fact and were too neutral about it, right? Yeah, Rosa Dawn seems to think that Pink News were too pro-trans and didn't give these protesters enough of enough coverage, enough of a platform. Rose, they fucking hate your very fucking existence. You stupid true scum cunt.
Yes. Just yes. I think that needs to go uncommented upon. Good.
But the point is that TERF could object to any pride parade because it includes trans people and get it stopped.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about Christian bigots here. I always remember. Funny enough, the last few prides I've been to, they weren't there, but they used to be. They used in one section of the parade. There would always be a bunch of evangelical Christians saying how evil this, all this was, right? And we used to troll them. We used to go up and snog in front of them. Troll them with love.
Yes.
But I've noticed they haven't been turning up recently. But obviously they could, try and, they get money behind them from the United States, and various prides will get cancelled, including the big ones. Okay, London, Manchester, Brighton.
Yeah. Indeed. Although hopefully this won't actually pass now, but we'll see. Anyway. The horrific scenes in Clapham last week showed us all just how far peaceful protests can already be curtailed under existing law. Extending those powers even further is absolutely terrifying. Pride exists to help force people and the world, around us to acknowledge our existence, our struggles, and our demands. They offer a chance for us to celebrate all that we have achieved, to represent, visualise, and normalise an entire community that that in living memory was for so many decades forced underground. Giving the government and the police the unchecked ability to apply dispersal orders and shut down pride marches is absolutely chilling. The government is attempting to curtail one of the oldest human rights in the world, and in doing so threatens to destroy our ability to maintain and extend the freedoms we've fought so hard to win. This is not just a target on one human right, it's a target on all of them. That is why we want to see these proposed laws dropped, and will work day and night to ensure that our rights and the rights of others to protest are not curtailed. It is so important that we keep up this fight and say without fear that we are loud, proud, and we will not be cowed.
No, we won't. And if people are wondering, Pride in London is due to be held on the 11th of September this year.
Yeah.
And I will be there. Yeah, marching with my trans sisters.
Yeah, good. Awesome.
One last thing before I go.
Yeah.
Tommy. It's all coming out now, isn't it?
It is, yes. Good old friend, fascist Almo himself, Tommy Robinson, has been, unsurprisingly, not just grifting, but it would appear doing so illegally, misusing sums of money given by his supporters, and is now claiming bankruptcy when clearly he isn't actually bankrupt.
Well, we know where the money's gone. It's gone up his fucking nose.
Well, and a lot of in the case of like the house and stuff, it's been put in his wife's name.
He's doing that, is he? That's a way to get around bankruptcy. But a curious thing. It's funny how because I mean, a few weeks ago we had that revelation about Alex. Well, I always knew Alex Jones was a bit of an act. The revelation that he would I fucking hate Trump and all that he wishes he never fucking met Trump. It's funny how this is all happening at once.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not saying it's any conspiracy, but I've always found when one domino falls and several go down. It just seems that shit is catching up with the far right now.
Well, it should be. Yeah, for too long they've been able to get away with nonsense. Yeah, it's about fucking time.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, right, with Tommy particularly, there'll be a load of Gavin who'll go, well, yeah, this is fake news. I'll send him some more money.
Oh, of course they will. They're still sending money to Trump, even though he's obviously grifting them. He's not even president anymore. What are you doing?
Yeah, have you seen the latest photos of Trump? He looks like he's had a stroke.
Well, he's on a golf course. Of course he's had strokes.
Yeah,
See what I did? That's golf bonds. Golf bonds.
Very funny, but he doesn't look very well. That's what I'll just say.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, he's a man in his late 70s who has not taken care of himself, let's say.
No.
Yeah, he's a fat, disgusting old bastard. Much like myself, but much more so.
Well, I'm a fat old bastard. I'm older than you, and I'm fat.
We can all be fat old bastards together. Not with Trump. He can fuck off. But
I just want to tell your audience one last thing. All this does have an effect on people like me. All this transphobia, you bear with it, right? But there are it does get to you. It can get to you, and this is why you need to support trans people.
Yeah.
It's not nice when you every day you read the fucking news, and it's one attack after a fucking another.
Yeah, no, I can understand it would get draining. I can't, obviously I've not experienced it, so I'm not going to come at it from that angle, but it must be very, very fucking draining, yes. On a community that already obviously disproportionately suffers from mental health issues. And
4 in 10 trans people try to commit suicide.
Yeah, which is horrific.
Yeah.
So, again, would be another very fine reason why these bigots should stop.
Yeah. And,
there we go.
Blair White the other night, what was so aggravating was there was no pushback from her. From all that shit, which, Lauren, whatever fucking name was, I've forgotten.
Witzke.
Was Witzke, yeah. The fact she brought up, he said, this is not a lifestyle. 4 in 10 of you tried to commit suicide. Yeah, 4 in 10 trans people tried to commit suicide because of people like you trying to prevent us from getting treated. Yeah, that's all that Blair White needed to say. But no.
Yeah, well, she's pathetic, spineless goon.
Yeah. All right. Well, sorry to have annoyed you with my.
No, you didn't annoy me at all. You were a fine guest, and I invite you back another time.
Yeah, and you're always welcome on my channel, mate. All right.
Cool beans. Okay, thanks for popping on, Soph.
You too.
Yeah,
right,
everyone go and subscribe to Soph.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Well, there we go. That was informative and downbeat. But that's, unfortunately, in order to be informative about modern Britain, it's naturally going to be downbeat. That's the way that it is. I'm constantly reminded of, I think I tweeted this out earlier as well, the line from the Beat song. Was it, I see no joy, I see only sorrow, I see no chance for your bright new tomorrow. Anyway. So, yes. All my links are below. You should go and follow me. Go and subscribe to me on YouTube. Go and follow me on Twitch. You can also subscribe to me on Twitch. With the Amazon Prime, you can give me Jeff Bezos' money. There's the Patreon, there's the Streamlabs, there's the social media links. It's all there, people. It's all there. Now, someone told me, before I go, that on YouTube I can now live redirect. So I can essentially do, on Twitch you can do the thing where you what do they call it again? Raiding. You can raid another channel at the end. Apparently I can do that on YouTube now as well or something. It's called live redirect. Right, so hang on. Select where to redirect your viewers. Select. But how do I do... I don't understand how that works. That doesn't seem to work. Live chat. Live redirect. No? I don't know what to do with that. That doesn't appear to work. I'll have to check with someone else. Anyway, so I can't do that on YouTube, but I will raid you into someone on Twitch. Who we got? Chud. Chud Logic's around, so I'll kick you over to them. They're watching something, I don't know. Anyway, thank you all for listening and watching. It's been it's a difficult one, but I think a one that needed to be had. And Rory's scratching at the door, so I'll go and see what he's up to. Thank you all for listening and watching. No pass around.